At what time did you receive the call from Paul Stenbeck?
The call was logged in at 8:18 p.m. He said he had shot his father.
At what time did the shooting take place?
The medical examiner estimated the approximate time of death to be 8 p.m.
Did the defendant give any explanation for the delay?
He said that he and Miss Stewart were confused and not thinking clearly.
According to the phone records, the defendant called his lawyer at 8:15 p.m., 3 minutes before he called the police.
That's correct.
Well, don't you find that unusual?
Objection. That calls for a conclusion on the part of the witness.
Sustained.
When Ms. Griffin arrived that night at the scene of the crime, did you ask the defendant when he called her?
Yes, I did. He said that he had called her after we arrived, while we were in the bedroom examining the body.
Did James Stenbeck have a weapon in his possession?
Yes, he did. It was in his briefcase. It was a loaded pistol.
And the briefcase, a metal one, was locked, correct?
That's correct.
So there was no way James Stenbeck could have used that gun to threaten the defendant or Ms. Stewart before he was shot?
No.
Had the briefcase been tampered with?
Yes, it had. Paul and Emily said that they had tried to open it.
But did either of them say why?
Paul just said he thought it was a good idea to try to find out where James had been in hiding and how long he'd been in Oakdale.
And what else was in the briefcase?
There was $250,000 in cash, old love letters,
Those letters?
pictures.
Would you describe them to the court, please?
One was an old love letter from Miss Stewart. Another one was a letter from Paul, written at a time when he still believed in his father and wanted to run away with him.
I show you People's Exhibit B. Do you recognize this gun?
Yes, I do.
Do the serial numbers identify it as a service revolver belonging to your partner, Hal Munson, the stepfather of the defendant?
It has been identified as Detective Munson's gun, yes.
Were paraffin tests conducted on Miss Stewart and the defendant?
Yes, there were. Paul had fired the gun, and Miss Stewart's hands were clean.
In other words, the defendant fired all 3 shots. You recognize this note?
Yes, I do. It was the note that was attached to the roses that Paul brought to Miss Stewart.
Would you read it to the court, please?
Dear Emily, I'm looking forward to dinner with you tonight, but I'm not looking forward to the end of our working together. I've told you many times how you've changed my life, and I want you to know that starting tonight, I promise you'll never have to worry about my father hurting you again.
Go on.
It's signed, I love you, Paul.
I'll let the court label this People's Exhibit C. One last question, Detective Hughes. Was there an analysis made of the ashes of the alleged love letters from the victim that Miss Stewart claims she burned in her sink?
Yes, there were. It was of high-quality bond paper, and no other information could be ascertained.
Thank you, Detective. Oh, Detective Hughes. Were you at one time the mistress of James Stenbeck? Quiet in the court. Would you like me to repeat the question?
That won't be necessary. It's true that Mr. Stenbeck and I were at one time very close.
So close, in fact, that he bought you a cottage adjacent to his property. Speak up, please.
Yes.
To whom was James married at the time?
Barbara Ryan.
The defendant's mother, the present wife of your partner?
Yes, but she...
Detective Hughes, if you would, a simple yes or no, please. Were you and James Stenbeck lovers?
Yes.
Thank you, Detective. No further questions.
Miss Griffin, do you wish to cross-examine?
Not at this time, Your Honor, but I reserve the right to recall.
You may step down.
I call Lieutenant Daniel McCloskey.
Absolutely marvelous.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Very nice.
Oh, well, I just wonder how many more surprises Duncan's going to have for us.
I'm sure many more.
Duncan's always had a flair for the unexpected.
Yes.
I remember when he was 12, he glued together the pages of the hymnal. The soloist went straight from the doxology to a mighty fortress is our God without skipping a beat.
The Caseys are not a placid lot either. Shannon's young cousin Jimmy Casey was me altar boy once, and a lovely lad he was. But once, the snippy little thing tie-dyed me beautiful white alb.
Oh!
You know, if we're called upon to baptize the fruit of this union, we'd best wear armor.
Hey!
Good idea.
Oh! And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go cut the cake.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Let him borrow your sword. There we go.
That's a big piece.
For you.
Good work, good work.
Thank you.
Oh, no.
No.